How do we like my hair today? I look like I just like drove through a wet wind tunnel. Don't mind, I'm just gonna put my lip balm on. You guys, today I wanted to do a little bit of an in-depth talk through on my face. That's face, by the way, in case you didn't catch up with my lingo. I am very pale right now. We are rocking the pale life. I have remnant breakouts here from my sweet period breakout, and I wanted to show you an in-depth talking through of my go-to base. Wow, my skin looks like crap. I need to inject it with some glow and some warmth. This is my 10-minute glowing skin makeup tutorial. Now, for the most part, when I'm editing my videos, when I'm doing like full face tutorials, including eyeshadow and stuff, I cut a lot of things out just for, you know, like the good old SNL cut for time. I just cut a lot of things out, a lot of like explanations that I find kind of redundant, but every once in a while I like to do a little bit of a talk through and go more in depth and show you all the things that I actually use. All of these products that are on my desk you have seen on my channel before. There's nothing new here, so for those of you who wanted something new, today is not the day. But these products also have been remaining on my desk. This has been the makeup I've been putting on my face lately. This has been my go-to routine, and it takes you from scrub to hopefully less scrubby. So I'm gonna put one of these little wrappity things on. It gives me a very questionable look in the end, I must say. But Caudalie sent this to me. I'm part of the crew. I'm just gonna pull that forward because so we're gonna do this to just give the full effect to the face and ignore the state that my hair is in currently. So, my friends, let's get started. Glowing skin in 10 minutes. It's under 10 minutes, by the way, but I'm gonna be talking a lot, so I already have been. Oh my God, let's go. Now, if you've been here on my channel for a long time, it is no secret that I like to mix many products together for my base. Today we're working with 4. That's gonna be the base. And that's the thing, there's kind of no rule to makeup, you know? If you feel like you need to mix a ton of products, play with a lot of trial and error to get the look that you're achieving. If you've got combination skin, some parts are dry, some parts are oily, you can mix and match and do whatever the hell you want with your makeup and your base products. So that's kind of the approach that I take every day. My skin is very, very tight, very sensitive, very dry. My tightness really exists around my mouth, so I actually, after my moisturizer, I like to start with this. I have re-pulled this out of my collection. I've been using it every day. The Weleda Skin Food. It's so good. It's so thick, you guys. If you don't like thick creams, stay far, far away from this. This is like thick putty. It's amazing if you have dry skin, and in the winter, like, it's so windy in Toronto, and when you walk outside, the wind just like slaps you in the face and you're like, gah! And you just need some thick layers of protection. Not that kind of protection. The cream kind. Oh God, that is, I don't know. So I take this cream and I just press it right around my mouth where I am the most dry, and it just instantly sinks in. It just removes that horrible tight feeling, and I don't like to really put this anywhere else because I don't really need it anywhere else. I've come to find I just need it right around my mouth. It has quite a strong scent, but it's not like an off-putting scent, you know? So then for my primer on top of that, you guys know I don't really believe in primers so much. I haven't really ever found a primer that actually helps with like filling in the pores or making my makeup look that much more amazing. Although the Dior Air Flash spray primer, I need to revisit that because that was an exceptional day. But anyway, when it comes to primer, I love to have a hydrating one, the Smashbox Primerizer. It's been my go-to for such a long time. So choose whichever primer works for you. Again, I like to have a hydrating one just to amp up the glow, amp up the hydration underneath my foundation, and then whatever primer I'm using, I always mix something bronzy to it. So the Olay Beige is actually really beautiful on its own. If I'm having a no makeup day, I'll often just slap this on, run out the door, depending on what I'm doing. When you're on vacation, this is so beautiful. It literally does nothing except add just a lovely little warm tint. And I actually got this in the shade medium. I used to have a darker one, but I found it was too dark when I'm at my most pale. So I use medium, and it just adds a lovely little warm glow. And so I mix that in with my primer, and then I rub it down my neck so that there's not too much shade discrepancy there. So I take about 2 pumps of the primerizer, another 2 pumps of the Water Fresh tint, and then when I mix that together in my hands, the capsules of tint from the Olay Beige break, and you can see it just has this lovely little warmth to it. So it's just gonna be ultimate hydration all over my face. I rub that everywhere and down my neck too. And when you add a little layer of warm glow, it just makes you look much more like healthy and alive. When I'm at my most pale, I just have that kind of like bluey pale tint, and I just look sick. So just adding a little layer of this, like right then, the before and after, it just makes you look so much more fresh and awake, and then you're hydrated and prepped and primed for makeup. So that's kind of my philosophy there. There are many different primers and mixings that I love to use, lots of products I love to use on whatever particular given day. This is the current mix I'm using. Then we're going into foundation. Lately I have just been all over the Makeup Forever Reboot. It's so good. And when my skin is not having a particularly harsh breakout, I like to use something a little bit lighter. And I've blabbed on and on and on about this, but it is so great. So great. I'm gonna take about 3 pumps of this on the back of my hand. I have this in the shade Y244. And I've mentioned this before, this is beautiful with a brush, with my fingers, or with a sponge. But when I'm taking my time with my makeup and I'm getting ready for something in particular, I always love to bring the sponge out because it just gives the ultimate glowing look. It adds a little bit of wetness to everything, adds a little bit of glow, and it just blends everything out to look very, very skin-like. So I'm just patting that all over. Sometimes I'll apply the foundation directly onto the skin and then blend it out. I feel like you save a lot more product by doing it that way, but sometimes I like to just apply it directly with the sponge. There's literally no reason why I do one or the other. It's just whatever I'm feeling in that moment. Because I just wiped my hands, I didn't really feel like getting anything else in my finger pappets, so I just am doing it with the sponge, and it will absorb a lot more product, but Lord knows I need to use up some foundations in this place. I love the finish that this foundation gives. It just totally looks like your skin. It's so pretty. And I'm just blending that all over, and I usually take whatever's left and I kind of just pat it down my neck a little bit. If I'm using something that's really off from my skin tone, but I'm wearing a turtleneck or something, then I will actively drag it down more just to make sure that there's no like white gap poking out from whatever I've put on my face. And that is the foundation applied. How beautiful is this foundation? Seriously. Oh my God, have any of you tried it? Let me know your thoughts. It's so good. I don't even know what else to say about it. It just looks like your skin. It's incredible. It's incredible. So for concealer, again, depending on what my breakout situation is like, will determine what concealer I'm using. On a blessed day like today where my skin isn't freaking out too much, I will use 2 concealers instead of 3. What can I say? I'm a concealer hoe. The Tarte Under Eye CC Cream. There's nothing new to see here, but I do have quite a bit of blue under my eyes always, and I just love a little bit of extra help there. So I take a dab with my finger, and I don't go in twice. Like 1 little dab of this is all you need. I do like 1 on each side, and then I go in and blend it out. And I mainly focus that right on the inner corner of the eye, and then I blend outward. I'll go up onto the lid and then down onto the bag itself. Just because on me in particular, I find that most of my darkness is in that little gap. So I just really like to go in and brighten that area. But I start in the center and then I drag it up onto my lid. And I just prefer to do this with a finger because I find it just blends out the nicest. I'm not dragging anything onto my eye, onto that sensitive, thin little skin area. And already with that, I look so much more awake and alive. And just to blend those 2 areas together and then do any additional brightening that I want, I'll take a concealer. This is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. Such a classic. And I'll just put that right here underneath my eyes because I do have these really giant red patches that always appear on my face throughout the day, which is very annoying. And then I have a little bit on my forehead. And I'll just run a little bit on some of my spots. And then right on my chin where I get red. Basically like all my red patches, areas where I touch my face a lot, I just like to put a little bit of additional coverage there. And then I'll go over with the sponge and blend that out. Whenever I'm blending out the concealer around my mouth, I'll often like put my lips like this and then dab the sponge over. And that way I'm not getting like full product all over my mouth, even though most of the time I do anyway. But then it just kind of seamlessly blends all the product around that area. And that, my friends, is the base. I'm not gonna apply any powder. I'm exceptionally dry at the moment, but if I do need powder, I'll just take a little bit and dab it into the middle of my face wherever I need it. But at this point, I do usually always take my MAC Fix Plus and I spray it onto my face just to let this all soak in. I'm gonna go ahead and fill in my brows right now, and I'll be back with you to finish the rest of the base just while I let the Fix Plus soak in and just ooze into its glowingness onto my skin. So I'm gonna do my brows and then I'll be back. Ah, what a difference the brows make. So now let's go into the rest of the base. I'm gonna be layering a few products here. So before I go into any powder products, I'm actually going to be using a cream highlighter. This is the Nude Sticks Bubbly Baby. Oh, it's so gorgeous. And I'm actually gonna just rub this onto my fingers like so. And I'm just gonna dab that right onto the tops of my cheekbones. I need my mirror here, sorry. I'm dabbing that right onto the tops of my cheekbones just to really amp up the overall glow feeling on our skin. This shade is so perfect. It's meant to be their universal highlighter, so this is actually meant to fit any skin tone that uses it. So I'm just placing that onto the usual parts where I highlight, like down the bridge of my nose and onto the Cupid's bow. And then I'm gonna leave that there. We will be using a power highlighter in a moment, but now I'm gonna go into contour. I pulled back out my Kevyn Aucoin medium sculpting powder, and I have this little mini brush from Charlotte Tilbury from their Christmas collection that I've been using. So I have a very round face. I just want it to be a little bit more chiseled and angular. That's just the look I in particular like to go for. And so I'll make a little kissy face. I'm just gonna try and deepen out that line, and I'm just pressing that powder into my cheekbone, carving it out, and I'm really focusing that on the outside edge of my cheekbone. And I'll drag it down a little bit, but I often go a little bit too heavy here, and I'll have to take my sponge and just go and smooth that back out, just to make sure that it doesn't look like a dark gray smudge all over my face. But I'm using pressing motions instead of wiping it, and that will help not disturb any of the product that we've placed on the face below it. Then down the bridge of my nose, I'm gonna take a little bit of that product and an eyeshadow brush. And I have these two bones that stick out on my nose, so I always try my best to contour that somewhat, but I'm terrible at contouring my nose, so I end up just drawing two little smudges down here, but I always do a little bit of that. And then I'll just take the excess and put it under my lip and try not to ever forget to smudge the product under my lip again, because that's a disaster. And then I'll just press a little bit of that product on the temples as well, and on the jawbone. I know this looks like a dirty smudge now, but once all the other products are blended in, I promise you it comes together. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with bronzer. I also like to layer my bronzers. This is nothing new here. I'm gonna take Benefit Hoola and the e.l.f. large stipple brush, and I just really lightly trace wherever I just put the contour, and I just blend that all together with lovely sweet warmth to pretend like I've just been basking in the sun. I take a little bit across my nose as well. And see how even that just kind of blended all the contour together? It looks a little bit less dirt smudgy and just a little bit more clean. I'll take the remnant product and just bring it down my neck as well. Just a good old bronzing smudge all over. And then, I don't always do this. I'm feeling like I want to do it right now. I actually bought this little Hourglass mini. It's the Luminous Bronze Light Bronzer. And this is a shimmery bronzer. That was a matte bronzer. So now I'm going to take a little layer of this shimmery bronzer to really amp up that glow. And I'm just going to take that right across my face in a very natural sun-kissed motion, like where the sun would hit you. Just right across my face like that. Now for more highlighter, MAC Whisper of Guilt, baby. Since I discovered this last summer, it's pretty much been always my go-to. I always go back to it. It's so good. I'm gonna take this on a little brush. This is the Real Techniques setting brush. And this one, I'm just gonna go right on the tops of the cheekbones to really amp up that highlight. I don't always do this. Sometimes I'll just use the cream highlighter if I want a more natural look, but I really want my cheeks to pop today. So I'm just gonna do that across my nose and on the high points and leave it there. And then for the final step, blush, my good people. I love so many blushes. I have so many different blush colors that I love, but when I'm doing the ultimate glowing makeup tutorial, if I wanna look really naturally flushed and glowy, I wanna use a blush that has some shimmer running through it. I don't wanna use a matte blush if I really wanna amp up the glow. And then I love to use like a lighter, brighter, cool toned pink. You can use whatever kind of tone you want. Figure out what makes you feel the most fresh and awake and glowing. For me, that just happens to be a cool tone pink. And I have my little Surratt Trio that the beloved Katie Jane Hughes brought into our lives last year, and this is kind of my go-to whenever I'm wanting to achieve that really glowing fresh look. It matches the shirt I have on right now, so this is the one we're going to. And I just kind of take my brush and run through this. I don't know these off the top of my head. I will have the 3 that I have in here. One is a highlighter. The highlighter isn't necessary to achieve this look, but the mixture of these blushes, I just run that. I kind of start it in the center of my cheeks, and then I brush it upwards. So I put the bulk of the product right in the center, and then I brush it upwards. This Bobbi Brown blush brush, blush brush, did I say that right? Oh my god. It's amazing. It's my favorite blush brush. I've had it for years and years and years. And then without taking any more product, I rub that across my nose. Again, for that like natural sun-kissed look. The tops of the cheeks, the forehead, and on the top of the nose is where you naturally get that color. So that's where I like to put the blush. And I just find that this color, it's just so beautiful. It's just kind of my go-to for every day. And I just, I love it. It's so nice. It's so nice. And if I'm feeling a little bit crazy, I'll even take that same little mixture on an eyeshadow brush. Normally I would have already put bronzer on my lids too, but you can just run that on your lids as well. Go crazy. Do another little final spritz of MAC Fix Plus. I'll speed through this really quick. I'm just using the Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude Lip Pencil. And then my favorite everyday lip, the RMS Sublime Lip Shine. I just press that into my lips and it matches this blush. It matches my shirt. It's just such a good everyday color. And then mascara to finish it all off. And this, my friends, is the finished look. This is my 10-minute, my go-to, very, very glowing skin routine. It's the makeup I use to give a little bit more life to my skin. You can tweak it to suit whatever your skin needs that day, but this is just like my ultimate kind of go-to glowing skin makeup routine that I've been using as of late. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What products do you use to just give your skin a glowing injection? I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. All the products I used will be listed in the description box down below. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. I'm currently posting videos every day for 100 days. Thank you so much as always for watching, guys, and I will see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye!